Tell the court your full name.
Vincent Mark Hurt.
Thank you, Mr. Hurt. Today is the day set for review, and I do have an update from probation with respect to Mr. Hurt. It appears that Mr. Hurt has completed most conditions, of his probation. It was only a couple, and the main condition, of course, is that Mr. Hurt, has to pay restitution. According to probation, Mr. Hurt is, according to probation, Mr. Hurt has completed his community service. He has a prescription that is a prohibited substance, but it's on file with probation, so he's fine. He paid $210 in court costs, but it says he has an outstanding balance of $348, and I don't know what that balance is. However, if Mr. Hurt is continuing to make payments on restitution, which, as I look at this, it doesn't say he's making payments, but he needs to be making payments. And I'm assuming if he wasn't, oh yeah, $25 payments to the Michigan Department of Treasury. I don't know why it's going to them and not us, but he needs to continue to make those payments. And of course, we don't expect, oh wait, this is his last day.
Well,
But he owes $348 outside of the restitution.
right, and it looks like it was an 18-month probation, Your Honor. I know the court would maintain jurisdiction over the matter at least for another 6 months. So, I would ask that the court consider our motion to close the case once the $348 is paid, as long as the probation department is able to establish that Mr. Hurt continues to make restitution payments.
What's the $348 for, Mr. Fernandez?
I'm not seeing it.
That doesn't sound like something I would do.
It's not popping up.
And then it also just says the court costs are paid.
Yeah, it says 210 is paid. Sir, don't have, hold up, put that down, put that down, put that down. I don't want you, put that down. I don't want you to show me your private information. We are live streaming.
Okay,
I don't know what the 348 was for, but I'm gonna waive the 348. If Ms. Flanagan says it doesn't show up in the financial screen,
Okay,
so I'm gonna waive 348 and then, close him out without improvement. Of course, he still owes $38,000 to the Department of Human Services. Sir, you can keep paying that $25 a month. I don't know, directly to them. I mean, at that rate, you'll never pay it before you pass on, because it'll take you, I mean, I want you to live forever, but you're not gonna.
thank you, Your Honor.
$25 a month, you're not gonna pay it, but it may prevent them from like taking your income tax or taking your, it may prevent them from taking a lump sum of money if you keep making those payments, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm gonna close them out without improvement. Anything further?
nothing on behalf of Mr. Hurt. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, sir, you're all set. We're gonna mail you a copy of your discharge from probation, your discharge order from probation, okay?
Thank you.
You excited? I'm
Yes,
so
I am.
happy. All
Thank
right,
you.
all right. It's not often I get to see the happy people, because somebody is always gonna be unhappy in my court.
I'm very happy, Your Honor.
Well, I'm glad you are. So, I don't know what brought you into the situation, but just do better going forward, okay?
I will, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
All right, we're all set. Oh, no, we're all set, sir. You have a great day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. All right, that was the only case we had on the docket. I'm gonna lock the meeting room. Okay. All right, and then, sir, you are still under oath. The witness has taken the witness box again. Ms. Ritter, you may proceed. Oh, no, had you finished your question? You did, all right, so on behalf. Okay, y'all throwing me off. Are we going in order or not in order? Is Mr. Farina going first with his cross-examination?
With all due respect, may we go out of order and I'll start?
And is that gonna be for the duration of the trial? They put you up first.
If it's
Mr. Farina said yes.
I'm fine.
Well, Ms. Stevenson is number 3, so either way she
I was
goes.
going last.
She goes
anyways.
last.
She's number 1 in my book, Your Honor.
All right,
Ms. Ritter.
all right, then Mr. Sherwood, you may proceed.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I have a few minutes. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
You have a few seconds, but stay up a few minutes.
No, I'm just joking. Just joking, Judge.
And then your client is.
I got it. Okay. Ms. Floyd, my name is Jeffrey Sherwood. I represent Mr. Spencer in this matter, and we've been together for quite a while since we first saw each other. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to go back to the beginning. And what was the day that this incident took place? What was the date? Do you recall? What year?
Mr. Floyd, do me a favor, adjust that, well, just, yeah. Adjust so I can make sure, okay, thank you, sir.
You said it's April 20th of 2018, correct?
Correct,
And were you living in Michigan at the time?
yes,
Okay, what part of town were you living?
west side,
And you had made arrangements to meet your friends?
yes.
And who was it you made the arrangements with?
His name is Sam Sword,
Okay, and where did Mr. Sword live?
Florida,
And is he still living in Florida?
correct,
And I assume you've talked to him in the last 3 or 4 weeks?
yes,
And you talked to him prior to April 20th of 2018?
a few times.
And how did you arrange to meet him that evening?
We arranged to meet each other at Floods. I was driving and he was walking, he was in a hotel down the street.
Well, did you call him? Say, hey, Sam, I'm gonna meet you?
He called me to arrange it.
Okay, and you still have the same phone number today as you had back then?
I do,
And who's your service provider?
AT&T,
Was it AT&T back then?
it was back then too.
Okay, and you still have that same phone with you
I
today?
do.
So do you have the picture of Mr. Abramski on your phone today?
Probably not, but I might.
Well, I asked if you have.
I don't know.
Have you looked for it recently?
I don't know. I haven't.
You haven't looked for it?
I haven't looked for it.
So if we took some time, maybe on the next break, you could look to see if it's still on your phone?
I could.
And that was sent to you by who?
Very messy.
So prior to April 20th of 2018, Mr. Sword contacted you and said, we're going out? How did that come about?
Mr. Swart was coming in town for his daughter's graduation. While he was in town, we had planned to meet up at least for a little while.
And
I didn't make the decision on where to go. From what I remember, we were just gonna meet somewhere and have some drinks for happy hour.
did he meet you for a happy hour?
He did,
I'm sorry?
he did.
Okay, so on April 20th, you drove downtown?
Yes,
And who'd you drive with?
myself,
And what kind of vehicle were you driving?
a Cadillac CT6
And where did you park it?
at the casino hotel.
Okay, you never parked it at Floods.
No,
Sir, you have a civil lawsuit pending, correct?
correct.
And you recall that on November 12th, of 2020, a deposition was taken where you participated?
What was that day? I'm sorry?
November 12th, 2020.
Possibly.
Your deposition was taken.
Okay. I'm not denying it, but I don't recall it.
Okay, you don't recall the date.
No.
You recall the testimony.
I recall having many meetings online via Zoom.
Did you review a deposition transcript before you got here today to prepare for your testimony
No.
today? Do you recall when you were giving that deposition, the court reporter asked you to raise your right hand and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You talking about on November 20th?
Whatever that date was.
I don't recall.
You don't recall the deposition being asked to tell the truth?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you don't recall in the deposition where the court reporter writes that you were first duly sworn? You don't recall that?
Judge, I would object to improper repeat.
You don't recall being asked that you were sworn to testify to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I don't remember.
Is that because you don't remember what happened?
I remember what happened.
Okay, we're gonna get to that. So it's your testimony today, you drove to Greektown Casino,
I drove to the casino hotel. I valeted my car there.
and then how did you get the floods?
I walked.
Do you recall what time you got the floods?
I got the floods, 6 o'clock, shortly after 6.
Your page. You recall testifying that you parked your car with the valet parking at floods?
Judge, I would object to improper repeat. I'm so confused. No, I'm asking Mr. He's reading from a transcript that he said he doesn't recall.
It's the question, I wasn't reading. If I gave that, I'm looking, but I didn't read.
The thing that you were reading.
So I wasn't reading. You recall testifying in your deposition that you said you parked your car valet at floods.
I don't recall that.
Could you have said that?
I don't think so. I don't recall seeing it.
So it's your testimony that you valeted your car at Greektown before you went to floods?
Judge, objection
Okay.
after answer.
You're right. On page 77, sir, in your deposition, do you recall saying that? Let's see where it is. On page 77, line 1, that you left floods and then you went to the park somewhere in Greektown.
Same objection.
Well, let him look at it, then we'll do proper impeachment. I can let him look at the transcript.
Well, the objection is sustained, and then by the sounds of the answer, there's no need for an impeachment. It coincides with his
But this is what he said.
testimony. You can approach him, see if he can say that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Here. Sir, do you recall being asked a question on November 12, 2020? Question, page 77, line 1, and I can give the court a copy of the transcript if you like.
Well, can we just let him
Okay.
acknowledge the transcript
Sure.
first, that he was the person that's identified in his transcript? Because he said he didn't remember giving
May I
that
approach?
position. You may.
If you recall, that's your name, Christopher Floyd,
Correct.
and your lawyer is Mr. Brad Perry,
Correct.
and I was there. There was a Gene Barron. You remember any of those folks?
Was it a Zoom?
Yes.
I remember.
All right.
So, sir, on page 77, line 1, The question was, at 7:15 you left floods, where did you go? Answer, to the casino hotel. Question, the Greektown Casino Hotel. Answer, yes. Question, and you parked somewhere in Greektown. Answer, I valeted my car there. Do you recall that?
I do.
And you're now saying that was after you valeted your car at floods or not?
I'm not saying that.
So assuming that's in the evidence, he said, that's what he said. I sustain.
So you didn't park at floods first?
No,
Okay. You went to floods alone,
I did.
and did you have any cocktails?
I did.
How many did you have?
3, maybe 4.
Did you know the bartender?
I did.
And what were you drinking?
I was drinking, Tito's and vodka and cranberry.
What kind of vodka?
Tito's.
That's Syrah?
Maybe.
Overruled. I can see where it could be relevant based on where I think Mr. Sherwood was trying to go, but I don't, overruled, I would love it.
So do you recall in your deposition testimony on page 74 that you're drinking Syrah and cranberry?
I recall drinking vodka and cranberry.
How did you pay for your drinks?
I could have paid with, I didn't have cash, so I could have paid with my last bit of cash.
Did you eat anything at floods?
I did.
So do you recall?
Did not.
Did you say
I did not eat anything else.
you really didn't have anything to eat the whole night? Correct?
I don't recall.
That's the answer, objection.
So the question on page 75 to you, sir, was, did you eat anything at floods? And your answer was, no, I just had drinks and I paid my valet and I always leave a good tip. Was that the valet at floods?
No,
So why would you say you paid your valet if you're at floods, if you hadn't even gone back to get your car at the casino yet?
I don't recall saying that.
Well, here, let me show it to you. May I approach you on it?
You may,
Look at the top there. Your glasses are a little small.
and please identify for the record what page he's looking
You're looking at page 77, I believe. See that top line, sir?
I do.
And do you see what you said there?
I do.
And was that correct then or not?
I think I misunderstood the question I was being asked in the deposition.
Because that clearly says you valeted your
That's what
car.
it says.
Okay, so the transcript in your deposition said that you valeted floods. Correct?
That's what that is leading
You
to.
may approach and get there.
You may,
So today you're saying you did valet floods, you parked straight at Greektown.
I did.
And we're now 5 years later, and you have a better recollection today than you did in 2020.
I think it's the same.
Okay. So how long did you stay at floods?
Hour,
So that would take you to about what time when you walked out?
7.
And you walked back to Greektown?
I did.
And who did you see at Greektown?
Sam Sword,
Who else?
his friends.
How many?
It was 5 of them.
And did you go into the Greektown hotel?
I went to his room.
Did you have a pass key to get in?
No,
How did you get in?
he walked me up,
So he came down and got
came down and got
it. And how long were you in the room?
it. Hour and a half,
And what'd you do in the room?
talk.
Anybody have any cocktails?
It was plenty. They were drinking, I wasn't.
Did you have any other drinks after you left Floods at 7 o'clock?
No,
So
water.
from 7 o'clock till when you were at the hospital at 12 o'clock midnight, you didn't have any cocktails?
No,
Were you taking any illegal drugs?
no,
Any legal drugs?
no.
Were you on any medication?
I don't recall.
Was there a time that you were taking medication for any medical condition?
Yes,
And what was that?
I don't recall what I was taking when I was taking the medication.
When was the last time you were on any prescribed medication prior to the incident?
Oh,
How did you get from Newtown to the Coliseum?
we took a van.
A courtesy van?
One of Sam Swartz's friend drove a van.
Who went in the car?
Me, Sam Swart, and two of his friends.
Could you describe the friends to me?
No, I can't.
Were they black or white?
Black,
Bald head, dreadlocks, long hair, any kind of hair?
Sam and myself was only two bald-headed guys.
And what about the other two?
They wasn't bald-headed,
Well, did they have long hair,
short hair.
any braids,
No,
anything like that?
no.
Who drove?
One of Sam's friends. I don't know the guy's personal.
And what happened when you got to the Coliseum? About what time?
9 o'clock.
Was there a valet park at 9 o'clock?
He valeted the car. Sam's friend valeted the car.
Did you all four go in together?
We did.
And in fact, you said you had to show your ID,
We did.
and you didn't have any money left because you paid the valet parkers the Floods.
Wrong.
Who'd you pay the valet parkers to?
I spent my last money paying for my drinks at Floods.
So you had no money and you went out.
Just credit.
Did you have any drinks at Coliseum?
I didn't get a chance to.
Did you order any drinks at the Coliseum?
I ordered bottles.
You ordered bottles?
I ordered bottles.
How many?
2,
What kind of stuff did you order?
vodka cranberry.
Is there a bottle of vodka and cranberry? Or did you buy, I don't understand that.
I did bottle service. I ordered bottle service. They bring you a bottle and they bring you cranberry on the side if you ask for it.
I don't know, I've never been there. You said you hadn't been there either, right? You
I've never been there, but this is nationwide. This is nothing.
Is that the way they go to the
That's the way it
clubs?
happens.
Let me finish my
That's the-
question.
Hold on, because you all are talking at the same time.
Right, let me finish my question. So when you go to a gentleman's club, you buy a bottle and a side of cranberry.
When you go any club, you buy a bottle and you tell them what you want on the side and they bring it to you.
When you walked into the Coliseum, did you go four abreast, one in a row? How did you walk in?
We all walked in together. It wasn't one in a row. We walked in together and we all stood together on the side while our table was being cleaned.
Did you have an opportunity to sit down?
Briefly,
How long was briefly?
2 minutes, 3 minutes, long enough to order my bottle service.
Did you get your bottle service?
No.
Who paid your cover charge?
Sam swore.
Charge or pay cash?
He had cash.
Did you have prearranged plans to go to the Coliseum?
No.
How'd you end up at the Coliseum?
Yes.
That's the answer. Oh. Only because I didn't remember if you asked it or.
Well, I
didn't
did,
remember.
yeah, I don't think that question's really been answered. Who decided to go to the Coliseum?
It was their decision.
Why didn't you drive your vehicle?
Because I had been drinking. I knew we were gonna be drinking. We planned to go to happy hour. I knew I had been drinking, so I didn't drive.
You have been drinking since 6 o'clock.
Exactly.
When you went into the Coliseum, you recall who told you to hang tight till they get a table for you?
I don't.
It was a man or a woman?
It was a man.
Was it black or white?
Maybe Hispanic. I don't recall any white person serving us.
So the person who sat you down was the same one that was serving it?
I honestly don't remember.
You don't remember anybody at the front of the house, if you will?
I remember a busboy cleaned the table for us, and it may have been the woman who came and did our bottle service, or the same guy. I don't remember that part.
And you're telling us you got to the Coliseum about 9.
But approximately 9.
Between the time you walked in to the time you sat down, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
So now we're at 9:10.
Yes.
And then from 9:10 to, at what point did you go to the bathroom?
Sat down about 9:10. I ordered my bottle service a few minutes later. So I'm gonna say maybe 9:15, 9:20, I walked to the bathroom.
Okay, and you went, and to get to the bathroom, describe your walk down the hall.
A pathway, not a hall.
And then you turn to your left to go to the bathroom.
Correct.
And when you turned to your left to go into the bathroom, did you go into the bathroom and do your business, I assume?
I did.
Do they have, anybody to tip in the bathroom for washing your hands and stuff like that?
They may, but they didn't that night.
And you had never been there before,
Never been
and
there.
you never been there since.
Never been there since.
So as you're walking down the hallway from the front of the house, you turn left to go into the bathroom, correct?
I'm walking down the path.
The path, I know
not a
the path.
hallway.
You're
I
right.
turned and I made a left turn to go into the restroom. This is the door right there.
Okay, and when you turn left into the bathroom, you have vivid memory of that.
No, I got a clear memory of that.
Okay, it's the same as vivid, but you had a clear memory of turning left into the bathroom, right?
Correct.
And at any time when you were in the Coliseum, did any girls approach you?
No,
That's bad business. Not one girl came up and talked to you about anything.
it was 9 o'clock. I just got there.
And you didn't have any dancers with you.
No,
You never made contact with anyone
never
except your
had
friends.
any.
Okay,
Never.
you have to let him finish your question. You said you never had contact with anyone, what?
With any dancer. I'll
Okay.
rephrase it, Judge.
Okay. Okay,
So you have testified in your deposition and here today that you never had contact with any dancer, right?
Correct.
You never went into the back room.
Correct. Never.
And the back room is when you're going down that pathway is to the right? You didn't know?
I don't know. I
But you
don't
do know the bathroom's on the left.
The bathroom's on the left.
So do you know who Paris Floyd is?
I don't.
No relationship, I assume.
No.
And if she is gonna come here and testify and says that you were drunk and argumentative, she'd be lying.
She'd be lying.
And we do know the difference between truth and not truth, right?
Correct.
And if, so you went into the bathroom on the left. And you come out. And you're brutally attacked, so you're saying by 5 guys. Did you say anything bad to somebody?
No,
Why'd they pick on you? If you know.
I don't know.
To this day, you don't know why.
I don't know.
And you did nothing wrong.
I did nothing.
And you were stone cold sober.
I'm not gonna say I was stone cold so I'm not gonna say that.
Were you under the effects of alcohol?
I just had drinks hours prior.
And you recall that the hospital records that have been admitted show that at 12:30 at night, you blew a .242.
That's what it said.
Do you drink a lot?
Often,
Do you drink every day?
no,
Prior to April 20th of 2018, had you been on a bender or anything like that?
no.
When was the last time prior to April 20th of 2018 you had any alcohol?
When is the last time?
Right.
Last Friday.
Okay, the Friday before that?
What are you talking about?
Back then. I'm
Back
not
then.
talking about now. I'm talking about April 18th to, April 20th of 2018. What day of the week was that?
That was a Friday.
Prior to that Friday, when was the last time you had drinks?
I don't recall.
Are you a weekend drinker, or a daily drinker, or what?
Occasional drink.
So had you had anything to drink the Thursday before, the night before?
I don't recall.
How about the Wednesday before?
I don't recall.
Could have, you may not.
I could have. If it was an occasion, I probably would have.
So after the incident, you were in the front of the Coliseum or the back?
After the assault, I was tossed out the back door.
Then you got and walked to the front.
I walked to the front.
And did you go back in?
No,
Did you call the police?
no,
You called your sister?
I did.
And what's your sister's name?
Toledo Marie Floyd.
And she works for the police department?
She does.
And when you called her, did she call 911?
I don't recall.
Who else did you call?
I called Larry Massey. I called Erica Augenstein. I called Sam Sword, who was inside.
Did Sam answer?
He did.
Did Ms. Augustine answer
She did.
later or right away?
She answered when I called her. She answered right away.
And did your sister answer?
She did.
You talked to your sister?
I did.
And what about Mr. Massey's name?
Larry Massey. He did.
He answered right away?
He did.
Did he come to the Coliseum when you were still there?
No,
Sam Sword never saw you again after you went to the bathroom, correct?
No.
Miss Augustine came and got you later?
she did.
About what time?
I don't recall the time.
How long were you there before she came?
I believe I stood out there close to an hour waiting for her to come pick me up.
So that would take you to after 10 o'clock?
Possibly.
And then with Miss Augustine, where did you go?
We went to the police station.
What's your relationship with her? Or
She-
was it at that time?
She was my girlfriend.
Is she still?
No,
And then you went from the police station to the hospital?
correct,
Then you went back to the police station?
correct.
Do you know what time you got to the hospital?
I don't recall.
If the records reflected about 12:04 a.m. on April 21st, would that be correct?
Could be correct.
Do you recall having blood drawn from you at about 12:36 a.m., April 21st, 2018?
I recall having blood drawn.
The records would show that, correct?
Correct.
You said the records would show.
Well, what time, because it says in
Okay.
the records, and those are the records that we submitted.
That's fine.
You went back to the police department after you left the hospital?
I did.
You recall who you spoke with?
I don't recall the officer's name.
Is there any writing relative to that return to the hospital that you're aware of, or return to the police station?
You writing?
Did you make a statement?
I did.
Is it a written statement?
I don't recall writing.
So let's go back to the incident. You walked out of the bathroom, which was on the left-hand entrance from the hallway. Who was the first person you saw? You.
I apologize, counsel. Is your question on his way into the bathroom or on his way out of the
On
bathroom?
the way out of the bathroom.
Thank you.
I'll make it clear.
No, I didn't hear it.
Well, I don't think you understood it.
Okay.
So I'll rephrase. Did your business, you walked out of the bathroom, correct?
Correct.
You walked into the offensive line for the Lions, right? Tell me who you saw first.
I saw a group of guys, well, who I can recognize first was, the gentleman in the middle. He was the only one of the guys who wore a white t-shirt.
Did they have sports coats on?
No,
Did they have,
black
any kind of,
t-shirts, security black t-shirts.
any, sports coats?
No,
You said he had a white t-shirt or a black t-shirt?
the one had a white t-shirt, the rest were wearing black t-shirts.
Okay. Who was the one in the white t-shirt?
Don't recall his name, gentleman in the middle,
The white guy in the middle.
the white guy in the middle.
And everybody else had black t-shirts?
From what I remember, yes.
Well, you're the only one. So did they have sports, anybody have a sports coat on?
No,
Were there any uniforms on?
no,
Were they wearing tennis shoes or sneakers?
I don't recall what most of them, I know one of them was wearing boots.
And which one? You know,
Mr. Dombrowski,
Mr. Dombrowski, because he was there, right?
yeah, he was there.
So let's go through the incident. You come out of the bathroom, is your back to the door?
Yes,
Does the door go in or go out?
door go in,
So,
left hand open door.
so you go into the bathroom, do you have to pull the door out into the hallway, or you pull the door into the toilet itself?
You push the door into the bathroom,
So when you came out, the door was closing behind
yes,
you. And from that angle, is your back to the wall when this all happens, or
my
back to the door?
back is to the door.
And tell me where Mr. Dittmore was.
Which one is Mr. Dittmore?
I don't know, you're the one who identified him. Tell me where Mr. Dittmore was. Now, you don't have to point.
Mr. Dittmore was to my right, he's the white guy in the middle. He was to
Are you
the-
asking me?
he was
'Cause
to
you
the right.
just didn't know.
No. All right, we're gonna talk at one time. And again, it's a bench trial. And I don't know if he knows their names or not, but you have to let him identify who he believes to be Mr. Dittmore.
Well, he couldn't identify him for weeks after.
He may not have been, but I'm talking about right now
Okay,
in this courtroom.
okay. So when you walked out of the bathroom, the door was behind you. Who's the first guy you see? You can point him out. The guy in the middle?
Yeah, 'cause at that time, he was the only white guy.
Okay. And your back was to the door to the toilet.
My back was to the door.
Okay, which is the door to the toilet. I'm not tricking you on that, right?
Mhm.
So you have to say yes.
Yes,
Okay. And you saw the gentleman in the middle in front of you.
he wasn't in front of me,
Oh, where was he?
he was off to my right.
Towards the front of the house or the back of the house?
The entrance toward the front, so his back would have been to the entrance of the door.
Okay, so his back was to the hallway coming from the front door.
Correct,
Okay, I got it. And you're coming out of the toilet and he's to your right.
to my right.
And who else is in front?
The three black guys,
They're all in front of you.
one's to my left and two straight ahead. I was boxed in with my back to the door.
Okay, so nobody came from behind you.
At that time, they couldn't come from my back because my back was to the door. When I turned to face Mr. Dittmore, because it looked like he was the one who was kind of in charge. When I turned to face him, now my back is to one of the guys.
And when you faced Mr. Ditmore, what happened next?
My back was to one of the guys.
What guy?
One guy.
What guy?
I don't know.
You couldn't identify.
I couldn't identify him.
So some guy was behind you.
Correct.
Okay. Then what happened?
He grabbed me in the chokehold.
Who did?
The guy behind me.
What guy?
The guy I can't identify.
Then what else happened?
Mr. Spencer grabbed me by my left arm. And the other guy who's not here today grabbed me by my right arm.
Mr. Faison?
Mr. Faison.
And you learned that name later?
I didn't know his name then at night. I didn't know.
But now you know.
I know.
He got dismissed because he wasn't there then. Have you identified him?
Objection or relevance?
Sustained.
Your Honor, with all due respect, it's very
Sustained.
relevant. Okay. So as of that night, you were able to identify those folks who were involved in this?
I was.
Okay. So may I approach, Your Honor, with proposed exhibit F, which is a signed statement of Mr. Floyd?
And you said proposed exhibit.
Yeah, well, I haven't admitted it yet, but I'm showing it to the council.
You could show it to him, but I don't think it's gonna be admitted. Go ahead and show it to council.
Why, I'm laying a foundation.
You can try.
I'm going to show you what's marked as proposed exhibit number F. Your signature on the bottom of each and every one of those pages.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you meet with the police department and fill out that form?
Yes.
And you signed your name on that document on April 23rd, 2018?
That's my name. I did sign.
Okay, and that's because you got with Detective Mason and made a statement about this incident?
Yes.
And do you recall in that statement that you couldn't identify anyone who grabbed you?
You said could or could not?
Could not.
Objection. Basis. Improper impeachment. He said he couldn't identify who grabbed him.
No, he said he could identify. Just now on cross-examination, he said, Mr. Sherbo asked him, were you able to identify all the people that something or other to that effect? And then he said, yes, I was able to identify. Overruled.
Okay, sir, I'm gonna move for the admission of exhibit F, which is his signed statement.
Now, that's gonna be the issue. Counsel, your response to that?
People object to the statement, like I said, your proper impeachment and lack of foundation, and so what really did he say?
Your Honor, he said he signed the statement and wrote the
He
statement.
did, and all day long, the statement is hearsay, counsel. That's
No,
why.
it's not. If he signs it
Oh, bless it.
for impeachment purposes,
It's hearsay. So let me textbooks, law school definition.
with
That is an out of court statement offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. Hearsay. Now, there can be an exception to the hearsay rule. There can be an exclusion from the hearsay rule, but that document is hearsay. It is an out of court statement. It is offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. It can be used for impeachment, but it cannot be used as an exhibit admitted in court unless it falls
Your
under
Honor,
one of these.
not for the truth of, Your Honor,
Yeah,
first of all, it's not for the truth of the matter asserted.
then what do I want it for?
You want it for impeachment because he couldn't tell then and he really can't say now. And it's also an admission against his interest. It's a statement that he made contemporaneously with the event. There's an exception for that. And he's admitted that he was interviewed, he signed it, he attested to it, and Detective Mason was there with him when he did it. It clearly isn't for the truth of the matter asserted, but it is to impeach him, and it is admissible with all due respect. It's not for the truth of the matter asserted. I don't argue that, but it is admissible because it is a statement he made. You're the one who has to give it the credibility. But I believe that you have the right to look at this statement as a fact finder to address the issues of his credibility.
Mr. Sure.
In the back.
Me. In the back. Back and off the record.
What I gotta say should be on, I mean, you put on the record, you put on the record.
I'll see.
Let's go.
You did, you just had an appearance.
And that's on the job.
Court is back in session. Remain seated, please.
But today it is. Today it is. All right, so we took that matter off the record, but, so counsel, I'm gonna read this to you, Mr. Sherbo, and then you're gonna respond to why I'm gonna allow that document.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hearsay. And then it says, this is 801D. Statements which are not hearsay. Prior statement of a witness. The declarant testifies at trial or hearing and is subject to cross-examination concerning the statement, and the statement is inconsistent with the declarant's testimony and was given under oath, subject to penalty of perjury at a trial, hearing, or proceeding. Oh, you might be right. Hold on, I'm gonna keep reading. Hold on, I'm just gonna see if I'm gonna convince myself that you might be right. B doesn't apply, consistent with the declarant testimony, and is offered to rebut. That doesn't apply. C, one of identification of a person made after perceiving the person. No, that still doesn't apply. One of identification of a person. This is lack of identification of a person.
Well, he's identified a person. Now we're trying to see why all this began at the time.
But you want that document in, like you want me to admit it as one of lack of identification, that he, at the time, he did not identify a
Good,
person.
I would.
That's the reverse. I'll hold it in abeyance. I gotta read that again.
Okay, and
All
Your
right.
Honor, the urge is not to, for the truth, but just to show that back then, when it all happened, he had no idea.
Right, it's an inconsistent statement. You can impeach him verbally, but the document itself is not admissible unless it was under oath. Like that deposition transcript is admissible all day long. That deposition transcript, that police department statement is not admissible unless it falls under one of those. So I'll hold it in abeyance and reread that last one and let you know if I'm gonna admit it. And that was, defense exhibit F, you said?
F.
F, thank you.
So I'm gonna approach the witness again, so I can ask him some questions about this document, right? May I?
I think you may.
Thank you. That's without the urging of Mr. Farina. Sir, that's your signature on page 1, correct?
Correct.
At the bottom.
Correct.
April 23rd at 5:30 p.m. Correct?
Correct.
Those statements were true and accurate when you signed that page back on April 23rd, 2018, 5.5 years ago, correct?
Correct.
And on page 2, that's your signature on the bottom of page 2.
Correct.
And that was you attesting to the truth and veracity of the statement on page 2, true?
With statement.
Okay, the page, the whole page, sir, you wrote that, you approved of what was written down and you signed it on the bottom.
I didn't write this.
I understand that, but you reviewed it and signed it, correct? That's your signature.
That's my signature.
Okay, let's go to page 3, that's your signature on the bottom there.
That's my signature.
So on page 2, when you say, what about the 2 black males that grabbed your arms, could you describe them? Your answer was, they were heavy built. One had locks like the Predator style. And whoever grabbed me by the neck, I can't tell you about him. Some guy that worked at the bar went to my friend. So the only description is you saw a guy with dreadlocks like a Predator. Is that what that says?
I was describing a guy that I didn't see. I knew he had braids, but I couldn't describe him because I didn't really get a good look at him. One guy I couldn't describe.
So you didn't say in here, I saw a heavy set, bald, black male, did you?
He's right there.
No, the question is, did you say that at the time?
I did.
Where? It's not in there. You want to show it to me?
If it's not in here, it's not in here.
I'll take that document. You said to us that the man that grabbed you on the right side was Mr. Ditmore, correct?
No.
As you just said, you walked out, he was on the right.
You said the man who grabbed me from the right side was Mr. Gilmore, and that's not right.
Who grabbed you from the right side?
Face on.
How did you know it was Faison?
Because he was the biggest ball-head guy in the mall. He was the biggest one.
Did you pick Mr. Faison out of a photo lineup?
I did.
There was objection to relevance.
Mr. Sherman.
Oh, it's all relevant because we're gonna go into the photo array and who we picked out and who we didn't pick out. So it is relevant that he picked out Mr. Faison because Mr. Faison's not here.
He's
because-
not, and that's the critical part. So let me say this, he's not here. I don't know why, what reason, or how his case was dismissed. This is a bench trial, I don't care. My colleague could have dismissed it 3 times. That is of no consequence to me, it means nothing to me, I'm not bound by it. It's not relevant that Mr. Faison is not here. Now, if Mr. Faison was here, and I was being asked whether or not to dismiss Mr. Faison's case, then that would be relevant, but It's just not relevant, and if a jury was sitting there, I wouldn't have allowed it in front of the jury,
Come on.
okay?
Can I approach the witness with proposed exhibit E?
E,
E.
you may.
Mr. Floyd, I'd like you to look at exhibit, whatever I say. E. Is that your signature by that picture?
Yes,
Do you know who that man is?
I don't.
Do you know how that name got on that picture? Or your name got on that picture?
I signed it.
You identified him as one of the folks at the Coliseum that night?
I identify him as what I thought was the guy at Coliseum that night.
What does that mean?
That
When
means
you
that,
thought?
that means that I picked the wrong guy on the photo.
Okay, so it would be a fair statement that on exhibit E, you identified somebody wrong in the photo.
That was the third photo line that I looked at. And
So
yes,
I'm right. I'm right.
You're right.
Basis.
The relevance of the person, when people are saying that line, that's not, that doesn't go to the line of question that that's Mr. Spencer. The whole different person.
Oh,
So you picked somebody in a lineup that had nothing to do with this, correct?
I took
Yes
a
or no?
guess. Yes.
I moved for the admission of exhibit E, which was part of the police photo array.
any objection?
Then I'll just make my objection for the record.
Overruled, defendant's exhibit E is, proposed exhibit E is admitted as defendant's exhibit E. I apologize. I might take it back just briefly. I need to ask a question. I'm sorry. Did he testify as to when that lineup was? Did you testify as to
I'll
when?
do it. I'll.
Okay, because I just thought about it. It might be like foundation at this point. Okay.
Okay. Sir, that's your signature, correct, on exhibit E?
Yes.
And it's dated May 27, 2018, correct?
Correct.
That's the day you circled that guy's picture
That's the day I went ahead and took my guy's picture.
and identified, I believe his name is Mr. Sullivan. You don't know his name, but that's who you identified.
That's who I took a guess.
I'm sorry, you what?
I took a guess on that photo.
Oh, you took a guess on this photo?
I was looking for a fat white guy with a goatee in the video.
I'm glad I wasn't on there. So you took a guess and put a guy's name on a case that.
I didn't put a guy's name.
Okay.
All right, it's admitted.
It- How many days after the incident did you have the first photo array?
Maybe a week.
And you know how the photos got presented to you, how the police came about the photos?
No, objection, that causes speculation.
You might. I just asked if you knew. That means he doesn't, he doesn't.
He doesn't, it's his name.
Okay. You recall being interviewed by Detective Tanner, or Officer Tanner? You know who that is?
That name sounds familiar.
You recall when you were interviewed by Mr. Tanner?
I don't.
You recall what, if he was the officer you saw at 4:20 in the morning?
Could be.
Do you recall how you got Mr. Massey to get back to the Coliseum?
I don't understand.
You said Mr. Massey went back to the Coliseum that night?
You said he went back. Mr. Massey went to the Coliseum that night.
But we don't have any proof that you contacted Mr. Massey. You don't have a phone record or anything, do you?
Possibly not.
prior to the photo array, have you ever seen Mr. Spencer before the photo array?
Not an incident.
And where was the first time you saw Mr. Spencer?
When I walked out of the restaurant,
And where was he in relationship to you coming out of the restaurant?
Judge is there, there's.
Sustained.
Not with Mr. Spencer. I asked one question.
Oh, Mr. Spencer,
I
now.
haven't asked one question.
Because I
about
was
Mr.
confused
Spencer.
me, you asking all these questions about the other people's clients. Okay, you're right, overruled. That was Mr. Didmore you was asking, and he said to the right. You correct, go ahead, Mr. Sherwood.
Once in a
That's
while,
why your P number is 2, go ahead.
because I forget.
Oh, okay.
So, Mr. Floyd, we're not making light of anything. This is a very serious matter, and please forgive me if I make light. But tell me, when you first were aware of Mr. Spencer,
I walked out of the restaurant. I didn't put any emphasis on any one individual besides the one wearing a white t-shirt, because it seemed like he was the one in charge. The other guys had me boxed in.
okay, let's, instead of saying they, those, tell me, who's the guy in the white t-shirt? One in the middle.
In the middle.
Mr. Dick. So tell me about they, who had you boxed in?
Didmore, Browski, Spencer, Faison, and the guy I couldn't identify.
Is there anything you know about the guy you can't identify? Is there any identifying factor?
He had long locks.
Okay, so
Braids or locks.
when you tell the police that somebody grabbed you on your right arm, but you couldn't identify him, was that another person?
I believe I told the police someone grabbed me by my neck, but I couldn't identify him.
And what contact did Mr. Spencer have with you?
He had me by my left arm.
Did Mr. Spencer hit you?
He did.
Did he kick you?
He did.
All right, did you say he
He
did?
did not. He said he did
Okay,
not.
thank you.
And were all of these guys bigger than you?
Yes.
They're all taller.
Yes.
How tall are you?
6 foot.
And what was your playing height?
6'1".
Do you have any recollection of what Paris Floyd was wearing? Or what she wasn't?
I don't know who that is.
One second, Your Honor. Have you been back to the Coliseum since this event took place?
No.
Have you seen any photographs of the Coliseum since this incident?
You said photographs of?
Yeah, inside, you know, an interior lineup or something like that, some kind of photo to help give some recollection as to what.
No.
And I'm just trying because for this case, I've been to the Coliseum, I've never been there before. But as you walk down that hallway, that bathroom's to your left, correct?
You keep saying hallway, keep saying a pathway.
Pathway, I'm sorry, the pathway. You're walking down from your table way out back here, and you're walking down and you go left into the bathroom.
From the front door of the Coliseum, there's a right side and there's a left side facing into it. My party set on the right side of the booth at the top. You can walk down the stairs and take a straight path down the right side to the restroom, which is on the left.
And the white male that hit you was taller than you.
That one right there.
Is he taller than you?
I don't know.
Well, can the record reflect who is that one right there? Cause there are two, three, well, I don't know, Mr. Reno would identify himself as a white male, I apologize, but there are at least two white male defendants. So which one, when you said that one right there
Didn't work.
in the middle, thank
In the
you.
middle.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I have nothing further, Your Honor, at this time.
All right, we are going to take a 10-minute recess before Mr. Farina comes up. So that's 2:44. Let's come back at 5 minutes to 3,
Your Honor, how late do you go today?
4:30.
And tomorrow?
I don't know. No, every day,
No, I have
4:30.
the expert at 9, you talked about going out.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Every day is my intention is to stop at 4:30 unless we're writing the end of a witness, and then I'll go a little longer. All right. Oh, Ms. Stevenson, your approach. This is on a different case. This has nothing to do with this case.
Okay.
In the front end? Yes. You can leave the courtroom.
at the end. Okay.
I mean, that's better than.
No, what's better is next time you and Ms. Ritter cut that off, and then y'all have to do that later, or whoever was conducting business. All right, already?
Thank
On behalf of Mr. Dittmore. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Dittmore. I am aware that there's no court reporter in the chair. The red light says that we're recording and we're gonna proceed. Let's go.
Thank you, Ron.
This is unacceptable. My chair is empty. Tell Ms. Tripp that.
Just a quick question. I don't know how to push it to work. The light on, are they tape recording?
She's not taking recording. The courtroom is recording.
Oh,
We're all set. Yes.
Mr. Floyd, how are you, sir? Good. I'm gonna ask you to look at exhibit E that you, minutes ago that full council had shown you. We didn't pick anyone out of this line. It's the third line.
Pick the person I served, is the third line, yes,
So you picked this gentleman,
yes.
right? But right above him in the picture is Mr. Dittmore. You did not pick Mr. Dittmore out of this picture, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you didn't pick Mr. Dittmore out of any of the other three lines, correct?
He wasn't in any of the other lineups.
You had a chance to look at all the pictures, correct?
I did.
But for some reason, you didn't pick him there, correct?
I did.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, Mr. Branson's pictures. We'll do some housekeeping. Yes, and this has been admitted.
It has.
I'm looking at this picture that you said was taken that day. There's a black jacket with a collar, correct?
Mhm.
And,
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
and there's a blazer on, correct?
correct.
Were you aware there was no smoking in the club?
I'm a smoker.
Yeah, but there's a cigarette in his hand, correct?
Larry Massey took that photo.
You can't speak what Larry Massey did, okay? I'm just asking you. But yes,
What was the question?
the question is, there's no smoking in the club, correct?
I know as a patron, I wouldn't be able to smoke in a club, but if someone who worked there, maybe. I don't
I'm
know.
not talking with maybe. Did you see any of the guys who attacked you, allegedly attacked you, wearing or smoking a cigarette?
I didn't. No.
All right, let me ask you something else. The medical record that was admitted, may I look at that a second?
And why don't you all keep the exhibit?
This should be keeping.
Just on the podium, maybe since they're all admitted, or I just don't wanna keep having to reach you there. Oh, yeah, you can put them right there.
Can we put him up here?
Okay, sure. Ms. Stevenson said, put them up there, Mr. Farina.
Oh, I asked.
Mr. Farina.
Yeah,
Oh, Ms. Stevenson said, put them on the podium, you know.
I have my stuff on the phone, but I don't want to.
Okay.
Judge.
Well, I'll hold it over.
I can put it right on top of the machine right
That's
here. you know.
it.
Okay, yes, okay.
Okay, so we keep it, we don't lose it.
Mhm.
On exhibit one, it is exhibit one. I'm looking at history of present illness. Is it fair to say that it says a 42-year-old male, which is talking about you, with no stated medical history presents after being assaulted? Is that fair to say?
What's the basis?
Improper witness.
Asking if
I
that's
don't,
what-
hold on, I know what you're asking, counsel, but I don't understand the basis of your objection.
He's asking him to testify to the contents of the medical report.
I'm asking if something in the report, if he said it was true. That's all. I'm not trying to, it's already admitted into evidence.
I get that, but what was your question?
Oh, does it say that a 42, did you say to them at the time, a 42-year-old male with no stated medical history presents after being assaulted?
Oh, overruled. You're asking him, did he tell them that?
Right. Is that true?
Overruled, overruled.
Did I tell who?
The doctors, when they wrote down that statement at St. John's Hospital that night, that there's no medical history, as it says there.
I had no medical history of present illness.
Okay, that's what you told him, correct?
That's what it says.
All right. Did you ever tell him that you had a motorcycle accident before this?
I don't recall.
That's a yes or a no?
I don't recall.
That's fine. Did you, when asked on, cross-examination, you mentioned that how you'd been taking medications, but you hadn't taken them right before this incident. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
And so you were taking, clonazepam, Pam, correct?
I don't recall what medications I was taking.
Are you taking those medications now?
No.
Were you taking dexmedetomidine?
Yes,
And that's for seizures, panic disorder, epilepsy, isn't that correct?
no,
Isn't it? Well, that's what it's typically used for, isn't that correct?
no,
Suspend.
You taking at that time duloxetine, which is a nerve pain medication?
I don't recall.
You could have been.
I don't recall.
Were you taking esopicone, which treats insomnia?
I don't recall.
Were you taking meloxicam, which is a potent pain, one of the most potent painkillers at that time?
I don't recall. I
I'm-
don't recall. the
I'm gonna move
medications.
on.
No, I wanted to just ask you, were you reading from the exhibit or the?
These are some of the medical records I looked through and I wanted to see if he was taking those at the time.
Okay, so the only reason I asked is because you were saying names that I don't know how to spell. Make
Yes.
sure you give a copy to the
I will
report,
give a copy to you of that medical record.
Okay.
It was a-
with those names in, so she can.
And were you aware that you had told U of M a month after this incident that you just stopped taking those medications? This is May of 2018. April of 2018?
So I don't know, he's reading from a medical report that was stipulated.
I'm not reading into them, I'm asking you if he said yes or no. It's a yes or no answer.
Hold on. He's reading the names of the mentions from the medical report. That wasn't, said. That's not the medical report, the people stipulated. to-
Right, but the question, hold on, Eric, please.
Sorry.
That's okay. He was, I understand your objection. However, no one would be able to know those names by heart. And the question was he taking those medicines? Okay, so those questions stand. And now your question is, did he tell U of M hospital?
I'll ask him, did he tell anyone at St. John's?
Thank you,
that he was-
okay.
That you were taking those
Yes.
medications?
I don't recall. I don't recall telling them I was taking those medications. I don't know if your question is asking me did I take those medications at night, or if you're asking me if I had a history of taking those medications years ago. I don't recall.
Well, this is a 5-year-old case.
Mhm.
So 2018, do you recall taking those medicines at that time, April, March of 2018?
I don't recall.
But you could have been.
Possibly. You said March.
March, April 2018. Possible, correct?
The problem with putting those exhibits over there is that you all are walking across my bench.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right. So let's put them over here. Just right here on the edge, like, well, the plexiglass.
By the court.
Right here is fine.
Okay, on the jury box ledge, yeah, put them over there, since it's up here. All right,
So what's fair to say is you may have just stopped taking 6 serious medications right before April 20th, 2018. Is that fair to say?
Objection and ask.
overruled.
No.
So you stopped them, that you took them that day?
You're asking me about medications that I've had a history of taking 10 years to 15 year duration in the past. I don't recall it during that time.
So. Judge, I have, as a rebuttal, I have a medical record from Michigan State, which lists all those medications and a statement that he has not been taken in the last month. And if the date is May 14, 2018, that would contradict what he's saying, that it's gonna take these 10 years.
Are you wanting to impeach the witness, counsel?
I would, Your Honor.
And, I mean. you
May I
can
show it to
Do
you?
what you need to do to impeach, and then the people can say if they believe it's improper or improper, if it's proper or improper.
So could you identify the date on this document?
That's May 14th.
And the bottom here, it says, read if you can pronounce it, what medications?
Clozapine, methylphenidate, duloxetine, I'm not sure that one, loxapine, prescribed, but I've been taking,
Okay, look, read the rest of it, what does it say, not to take
I've been taking any of these medications for the last month,
last month, before May 14, 2018, correct?
correct?
So that would indicate likely that you take those medications either that day or before that day, correct?
That would indicate that,
This thing,
Your Honor, I would ask that at least this exhibit be marked for impeachment purposes, just this page of the document.
any objection?
They can mark it as improper.
No, so the question that he asked was improper, the last question. I didn't say that the whole reading off those medications was improper. The last question he asked was improper. It wasn't. He said, does that mean he took it that same day? And that's clearly not what that said. It said he had not taken it
30 days.
at least 30 days before.
Has to be marked exhibit G.
All right.
I'll put it over. All right. Let's get to this situation here. You're at a club, and we've asked you that you had drinks, you said 3. Those are 3 generous drinks, right? It could have been 5 or 6, right?
it was 3 to 4.
Did you testify that how you knew the bartender?
We're talking about floods, correct?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes, you're right. That's it. Mhm. So you had some generous drinks and floods. Those 3 were generous, correct?
Correct.
They weren't limited, if they could have been doubles each of those drinks.
Normal
Technically,
Normal size.
what is normal size? That's like 2
It's
drinks.
not,
of
it's not
Coca-Cola?
like that. It's
Oh,
not
I
like
didn't-
that. That's what you did, but it's not like that.
I thought I did like this.
That's normal.
Okay, but it could have 2 or 3 shots inside, right?
Possibly.
Now, you get to the club, I'm talking to Allison, you get past, you don't have a lot of money on you, right? So someone pays you a $10 cover charge, is that fair to say?
I have no money on
Okay, so you have no money on you, so somebody pays you cover charge to get in,
it.
right?
Correct.
All right. Now, you're there, and I want to picture this, you called it not a hallway, you called it a path
Yes.
to the bathroom? Okay. So you must have told Mr. Sword, is it?
Yes.
Okay, I was, I'm going to the bathroom, and then you walk to the back, is that fair to say?
Correct.
So you walk into the back, there are tables on the left of you, there are tables on the right of you, some elevated, is that fair to say?
Correct.
All right, so you pass at least 6 tables with people, correct, before you get to the bathroom, right?
I don't recall no people being there at that time.
There were no people in the entire
There
establishment?
wasn't people at the tables.
Let me ask you something. Were there dancers on the stage?
No,
No dancers on the stage?
no.
Were there people in the kitchen right next to the bathroom?
I don't recall the kitchen being there.
Okay, so the kitchen is off to the left also or to the right?
I don't recall the kitchen.
So, but you can recall the bathroom, but you can't recall the kitchen.
I went to the bathroom.
Again, on your left.
Yes.
All right, so you passed the bathroom on your left. Isn't it true that there was actually no door in the bathroom?
You said,
Isn't it true? There was actually no door in the bathroom? For the men's bathroom, not the women's bathroom, the men's bathroom.
There was a door.
You remember it being a door.
There was a door.
Now you walk into that door and you pass the VIP room right further to the left, correct?
I don't recall a VIP room.
You know what a VIP room is,
I
correct?
know what a VIP room.
What happens in the VIP
I
room?
don't know.
Is there? The VIP room is where lap dances happen, correct?
Yes,
You've never been to a VIP room.
never.
All right, so you walk into the bathroom, you come out the bathroom, and I gotta ask, you were a fullback, you played fullback, right? You played football,
I
with
was,
special
I
teams.
was a running back.
Okay, at some time where you were a fullback for the special teams from Patriots or the Browns.
Yeah.
All right, so you know in a fight when you have to collide and hit people, is that fair to say?
Playing football and fighting ain't the same.
Well, okay, let me just work on that a little bit, okay? So you come out the bathroom, you see a white guy off to your right, just standing there. Then you see three other guys just standing there. And they're coming boxing you in. You're a fullback. You play football. You can figure out how to push somebody out the way, isn't that fair to say?
Only when I got a helmet and shoulder pads on.
Oh, that's the only time you can defend
I've
yourself.
been retired over 20 years.
Oh, I see. So that's why you didn't think to try to push anybody out the way. Is that fair to say?
I thought that I would be talked to. I thought someone would say something to me.
Before they jumped you.
There's no need for me to feel like I should be fearing anything when I didn't do anything. So I'm expecting a conversation to take place, not to be grabbed from behind in a chokehold, not to have my arms grabbed, not to be punched on. I wasn't expecting none of that to happen. I expected them to come up and say, hey, you did this or you did that. And I could have easily said, no, I didn't. I just walked in, my party's right there, and they would have vouched for me.
I see. So your party is there, you tell them you go into the bathroom, you get to the bathroom, there are guys surrounding you, you're not worried, you're not concerned because you didn't do anything, right?
Absolutely not.
All right, so all of a sudden you said you felt boxed in.
I didn't say all of a sudden I felt boxed in. I said that I was boxed in. It's a difference. It actually happened. It wasn't that I felt. It was, they surrounded me so I couldn't continue to my bath. I was boxed in.
You're now blocking a bathroom that people regularly use by four guys who boxed you in. Nobody comes and interrupts any of this?
No,
I see. And but you know what? There's a woman's room right there. And nobody comes and use the women's room while all this is taking place.
I have no idea what a woman's room was.
Well, you're looking around, you know where your back is to the male's bathroom.
I just came out of the male's bathroom.
I
Of course
bet.
I know where it is.
All right. But you didn't think to know where the women or any women around you?
I'm not a woman.
All right, I got it. Now, you're standing there, you're boxed in. Somebody grabs your right arm. Is that fair to say?
Somebody grabbed me by the neck.
I thought you said somebody grabbed your right arm first.
No,
And there was
I said
somebody
somebody
saying-
grabbed me by my neck first.
I see. So you allowed someone to walk around you while your back is to the bathroom door and all of a sudden put you in a, what do you call it, a chokehold, right?
I didn't allow anyone to walk around me. They were already surrounding me. And when I turned to face Mr. Didmore, now my back is to someone, but I still don't expect to be put in a chokehold. I expect to be talked to.
So let me figure this out. You suddenly turn to face Mr. Ditmore and the guy's boxing you in and somebody grabs you in a headlock. Chokehold, right? Now, when you put someone in a chokehold, I have 3 black belts. I know when you put someone in a chokehold, your neck can't move. Your body can't move. Is that fair to say?
Hold on, council, there's an objection.
Council made a mistake.
just putting context to my question.
I don't know.
Somebody puts you in a chokehold. The purpose of a chokehold is to keep your head steady and not move. Your head can't move, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so when you made a statement, I was able to I could see towards my friends way down. You couldn't move your head to see that. That's not a true statement, correct?
I'm already facing in that direction. I can see the path that I approached. I can see the area my friends were sitting in. My face is facing them now. My face is to the entrance of the club is to my right, facing the head. My friends are over this way, to my left, facing the head. I'm in the chokehold when I'm watching this.
I see, so now, yeah, I'm a little confused. So the door to the entrance is off to your left. My client is off to your right. Then the guy walks, you look towards my client that's off to your right. This gentleman walks and puts you in a chokehold. You should be facing towards Mr. Ditmore, isn't that right?
I think you're not understanding how I'm explaining.
Probably I'm not. Please explain.
Now I'm facing, when I walk out of the restroom. The restroom is this way.
It's right here.
That's going into.
The entrance to the club is up this way.
You got it. If I'm walking into the restroom, here's the door. And this is the door walking into the restroom. The entrance of the club door is right there where this exit door is. My friends are over this way. When I'm walking out of the restroom, my back is turned this way now. The entrance of the door is still there. My friends are still there. Mr. Ditmore is here. The other guys are here surrounding. Now I turn this way to face Mr. Ditmore. The entrance of the door is there. My friends are over here. Now I'm in a chokehold. Mr. Spencer was on this side.
And nobody could see what's going on.
Nobody could see me.
All right. So all of a sudden, somebody starts punching you in your face. Is that right?
It wasn't somebody, it was Mr. Ditmore.
All right, so he started punching you in your face,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so he's punching you in your face, and typically when you're punched in your face, you close your eyes. Isn't that fair to say?
Maybe you close your eyes.
Or you kept your eyes open while you were being punched 10 times.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of a sudden they let you go after being punched 10 times.
But may have been.
Was your nose broken?
Hold on. You said all of a sudden they let you go after being punched 10 times. What was your answer?
It may have been 15, 20 times.
Now it's 20. I got it. Now
May
they
have
punch-
been.
May have been 20 times. And at some point they let you go, right?
At some point, the guy released the chokehold.
Got it. Let go to chokehold. But they're still holding your arm.
Correct.
Can I ask you this, just please, ask you this, okay? Your friend's name is what?
Sam
Sam what?
swore.
Did you at any point say, Sam, help me?
I couldn't, I was in a chokehold.
You said they just let go to chokehold.
I couldn't, I was probably, I don't know why, I couldn't speak at that time.
You couldn't speak at that time.
I couldn't,
But then they throw you to the ground
I'm unconscious on the ground.
and you couldn't yell, Sam, help me.
No,
You couldn't say, help me to anybody.
no.
So you're helpless, you're thrown on the ground, you don't use your mouth, you don't cry for help, you're a former fullback football player. And then they start kicking you, is that right? In your head and your face.
That happened, one guy was kicking, that's Mr. Ambrose.
I see. And they stopped hitting you to let him kick you. Is that right?
I'm on the floor. Only one guy was hitting me.
Now, you got hit 15 to 20 times, punched in your face. You got kicked several times on the floor in your face and your head. You get up, nobody, let me ask you something. You're supposed to be going to the bathroom, right? So didn't Sam come down and say, where's my friend? Where's my friend, Mr. Floyd, Christopher, where's Chris? Did he come down and look for you?
I don't know.
Did you see him at any point?
I was thrown out the back door.
I see. Did any of your friends come down that were with you at that party walk to your area to check on you.
I only had one friend there, and he didn't.
Well, what about
I
the
don't
other
know.
group?
They weren't my friends, they were Sam's.
Okay, so they left you, they didn't kidnap, but you came in a van,
Yeah, we did.
and they had to go back in the van, right?
We were supposed to.
Right, but you're missing from the van,
Mhm.
and none of them called to check on you where you were?
No,
All right, now, you go, call this guy, Lee, right, pronounce it right, Lee, is that your story? Lee? Is that his name, took the picture?
Larry,
Larry, oh, Larry, what's his name?
Massey.
Massey, Larry Massey. So now, you've been punched 15 to 20 times in the face, kicked in the head, knocked on the ground, somebody took you by the back, threw you out the back door, get outside, and you don't call 911. Is that right?
That's right.
Because you didn't need the police, right?
I don't know.
But you think through all that alleged violence, to call your friend Larry Macy, to go, hey Larry, I just got beat up, kicked, 15 punched in my face. I need you to go and take pictures of some of the bouncers. That's what you said to Larry?
Larry was one of many people I called. I couldn't get
I'm
through.
talking about the specific instruction to go and take pictures of the bouncers, Larry.
Absolutely.
Don't get an ambulance for me. Don't call the police for me, Larry. Just go in that bar and take pictures. That's what you want us to believe today?
When I called Larry Massey, I was already in Eric Augustine's car. I already had a ride to the police station.
So this was 2 hours after the event, so this is about 1 o'clock in the morning?
I don't know what time it was.
So Larry gets off and jumps up, puts on his clothes, that's what you want us to believe,
I don't
and
know.
runs right to the club to take a picture of a bouncer. That's what you want us to believe.
That's what he did.
All right, now you go to your sister who's at the police station, right? You get out of the car and go into the police station. Is it true that you sat and stayed in the car?
My sister doesn't work at the police station. She met me and Eric Augustine at the police station.
Wasn't this the 11th precinct that you went into, sir?
I'm assuming so.
And you stayed in the car, sir, isn't that right?
I did.
You didn't go into the police station,
I
correct?
did go into the police station.
You walked into the police station and there are cameras of you walking into a police station?
I walked in there and they told me to go to the emergency.
Well, we checked your records. It said, you said that you never got out the car.
I got out of the car and made a police report.
That's later, after you came back from the hospital.
Correct.
But I'm talking about the first time that you went to the police station. You didn't get out the car, right? You stayed in the car.
Possibly.
Okay, so you stayed in the car. You stayed in the car because they could smell the alcohol on you when you went to the police station. Is that-
No.
You just stayed in the car, didn't get out, didn't give a statement. Then you got to the hospital.
I stayed in the car because I was bleeding. My eyes was closed shut.
Well, isn't that what you want the police to see?
Police came out and saw me and told me to go to the emergency.
You can't take what police officers may have said to you. I'm just saying, you didn't get out the car.
Well, I'm telling you what happened.
All right, but you didn't get out the car.
The first time I did.
All right, but you didn't go to the hospital right away, you went to the police station.
Correct.
Now, let me ask you something. Isn't it true that Mr. Sword said to some of the guys that how he's done this has happened before? Isn't that true?
I'm sorry.
Isn't it true that Mr. Sword said this has happened before?
Judge, objection,
No.
Okay, I'll withdraw this, I'll withdraw the question. And didn't Sam say that he was at Floods with you? Isn't that right?
Judge, objection again, but
This is what you said last week.
That doesn't mean it's not hearsay,
I'll move on.
counsel, just
I'll move
because it
on.
was turned over in
I'll
discovery.
move on.
All right.
All right, so now, you didn't pick out my client at any point there. You then, so that would be fair to say that when you look at his picture, you couldn't remember him at that time, correct?
Oh, I could remember who assaulted me.
Well, you didn't pick him out though.
Because he didn't look the same in the photo
I'm looking at it now, I'm looking at the photo now, let me see this photo. You're telling me today that this picture here doesn't look like that gentleman in the middle? Is that what your testimony is?
What I'm telling you is that the night of the incident, he had long hair and he was clean shaven. His beard was more tapered. He had a hat on turned to the back. That picture right there, he looked just like the guy in Circle. They look like twins.
This is dated, May 27th, 2018, this picture. Does it look like his hair is long or anything like that?
His hair was long when he assaulted me.
So you could have been talking about somebody else then, is
No,
that
I
fair
was
to
talking
say?
about him right there.
You didn't pick him out.
I didn't.
Okay.
Were you aware that the Coliseum, that none of the security, none of the people who watch VIP, no one's allowed to wear hats or gloves? Are you aware of that?
That causes speculation.
No, the question is, was he aware?
Were you aware of that?
Repeat the question, I'm sorry.
Were you aware that none of the security at the Coliseum, nobody by the VIP, nobody by the kitchen, nobody by the DJ booth, nobody that walks and serves is allowed to wear gloves or hats? Were you aware of that?
I wasn't aware of that.
Okay, so how many people did you see wearing gloves and hats while you were there that night?
One,
Only one.
only one.
And in that picture of Mr. Bryant, I apologize if I asked this before.
Ms. Ritter will let you know.
He's not wearing any hat, correct?
I didn't say he was wearing that.
He's not wearing any gloves, correct?
He's not.
He's actually wearing a black shirt with a collar, correct?
Correct.
And he's actually wearing a blazer, isn't that correct?
Correct.
Were you aware that there's a uniform policy at this establishment?
No,
So you're telling us that my client took off and put on a white shirt, contrary to what people normally wear to work there?
yes.
No further questions.
Cross-examination on behalf of Mr. Bryant.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, okay, Mr. Floyd, do you know how many medications you were taking on April 18th of 2020? 18, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Were you taking like 3 medications?
When you say taken or prescribed, I don't know how many I was prescribed,
Okay,
but I do believe that during that time I wasn't taking any medication.
okay, so do you know how many prescriptions you had at this time?
I don't recall.
Okay, all right. And you, testified that you didn't expect to be attacked, you expected to be talked to, is that correct?
That's correct.
What would they have been trying to talk to you about?
I would have thought maybe,
No, I'm sorry, that causes speculation.
Okay, let me ask you
It's the
this.
same based on the former question.
Okay, were you engaging in any type of activity that you think that maybe the bouncers would want to talk to you about?
absolutely not.
Okay, all right. So the photograph of Mr. Abramski, that's been entered into evidence, when did you give that to the police?
It was during the second round of photo lineups.
Okay, and you testified that your friend Larry actually took that picture, right?
Correct.
Okay, but, you weren't there when Larry supposedly took the picture, right?
No,
Okay, and do you have any phone records or anything of having, any proof that you received, or when you received the picture from Larry?
I don't. That was 5 years ago.
Okay, but it wasn't 5 years ago when you gave it to the detective, right?
When I gave it to the detective, it was maybe a week or two, or maybe, it wasn't 5 years, it was during the time of the total lineup and investigation.
Okay, so again, do you remember when you gave it to the detective?
It was during the second round of photo lineups, and they called me back in to look at more photos. I didn't see who I was looking for,
Right,
and the detective, they were starting to get a little frustrated with me, and I pulled out my phone, showing them this is one of the guys right here.
okay, but other than what you're saying today, you don't have any proof of when that picture was taken, right?
It was taken, I received the picture from Larry Massey
The day after this
the day after
incident?
the incident.
Okay, did you get it time stamped or anything like that?
I don't recall.
Okay, all right. Okay, so, I'm not gonna go back through everything, 'cause you've been up there a long time, Mr. Floyd. But, did you originally testify that you saw one of these people that you say attacked you wearing gloves?
Yes,
Who was that?
Mr. Dip.
Okay, do you remember, giving testimony at a deposition for your civil suit?
I don't remember.
Do you
I can't
remember
recall.
stating on page 144 of your deposition, do you remember telling the questioner that Mr. Abramsky was actually wearing gloves?
I don't recall the one.
Okay, all right, but you do recall giving the deposition?
I know I've been on Zoom calls. I know there were several different ones. I don't specifically know which one was the deposition. I don't remember none of that.
So, at what point, you said that there's how many people that surrounded you, that boxed you in?
Originally, it was 4.
Originally, 4 people boxed you in?
Correct.
Okay, do you remember giving the statement that's marked as, one of the exhibits? You remember giving a statement to the detective on April 23rd?
I remember meeting with the detective on April 23rd.
Do you remember telling the detective that when you came out of the bathroom, 2 black males approached you?
I don't remember specifically what I said.
Okay, so April 23rd that's like a couple of days, right? Okay, all right, you have it, you wanna look at your statement again?
I
or-
don't need to.
Okay, all right, but did you sign your statement?
I did.
Okay, so is it accurate that you made a statement indicating that 2 black males approached you?
I didn't write one. I didn't write that statement. I
Okay.
signed it, but I didn't write it and I didn't read it.
I mean, so, all right, you didn't read your statement?
I was talking, he was taking notes.
Okay. You remember how many pages the statement was?
I don't remember, but one of the guys just showed me. I don't remember.
Okay, you think it was 3 pages?
Possibly.
You think you had to sign each of the pages?
Possibly.
You think you just signed each of those pages without reading
I did.
it? Okay, and this case is important to you, right, Mr. Floyd?
It is.
Okay, you want everything to be the way it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, it's all here.
I'm sorry, what did you point to?
It's all here. I got everything right here.
Ms. Stevenson,
Ask,
Point.
Ms. Stevenson, describe what he did for
thank
the
you, I
record.
was just about to do that. So I would ask that the record reflect that the witness is pointed to the right side of his temple, indicating, do you mean by that all that information is in your head?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay. Do you recall, telling the officer do you recall the officer asking you to describe the white male who struck you?
I don't recall. I don't recall, but I know that I did describe the white male who was striking me, not just to the detectives, but also to whoever the security guy was at the police station that night.
Okay, so 2 days, or I guess, what is it, like 5 days after the incident, you don't tell the police that Mr. Abramsky kicked you and all that other stuff you testified to today, right?
I don't recall. I believe I did.
Want to look at your statement?
I don't need to.
Okay, so if if it's not in your statement, it's because you didn't tell the police that?
You can write it down.
All right. Okay, and then you testified that at some point during this attack, somebody has put their knuckles into your eyes, is that what you said?
Mr. Ditmore put his knuckles in my wounds. His knuckles padded from the gloves that he was wearing. I know what that is. It's trying to open my wounds up more.
What?
The wounds that was bleeding on my face, I had wounds that was bleeding on both eyes.
Okay, so your eyes are bloody because you've been hit in the face several times, right?
Underneath my eyes.
Okay, and then at what point after you get hit with these knuckles in your eyes do you become aware of Mr. Ramsey?
The whole time where he got me restrained,
Mhm.
my arms restrained, I'm in the chokehold, and he's punching me in the face, Mr. Ditmore's punching me in the face. At one point, I tried to kick him off.
Try to kick who?
Mr. Ditmore, I tried to kick him back off of me. And as soon as I lifted my leg up to kick him, that's when Mr. Ambrosky joined in.
Okay, so when these either two black males grab you by the arm or like 5 people surround you, at what point do you see Mr. Ramsey?
I saw him while I was in the chokehold. I was still up.
Was he one of those 5 people that surrounded you?
There was 4 people originally.
Oh,
He
what?
walked up from a distance.
You saw him coming?
I saw him walk up and approach.
Okay, and did you testify earlier that he kind of just stood there?
He did. He stood there for a second.
Okay, do you say anything to anybody when this is
How,
happening?
I'm being choked. How am I saying anything?
Okay, so you testified that you can see the door, the entrance to the club, is that right, from where this is all happening?
Yes, I can see the entrance. I know where I'm at
Uh-huh.
in relations to my friend sitting over there.
Could you see your friends?
I couldn't see him.
Could you see anybody?
The guys that was beating on me,
Okay, what is the distance, do you think, from where this was happening and the door?
I really can't say.
Okay, like is it from that door to that door?
No, it's a little bit further away.
Okay, so, but you can see that door right there,
I
right?
can see the entrance,
Okay, and somebody over there probably could see you too, right?
possibly.
Okay. All right. And you said that I start that. Okay, so at what point in this whole situation, Mr. Floyd, do you lose consciousness?
I really don't know. I feel like, possibly when the guy released me from the chokehold, that I was barely holding on.
Okay,
So when he released me from the chokehold, he still had my arms, so they was holding me up.
okay. And then at some point, somebody tosses you out the door?
Yes.
Okay.
1 second.
Trying to remember my question.
I apologize, maybe the court reporter can call, read it back if you
I wrote down that you were talking about consciousness, but that's the last thing I wrote down.
Okay, well-
And I'm sorry.
That's okay, I'll go from here.
Okay.
Okay, so how long do you stay out in the parking lot before somebody comes to take you somewhere?
At least 45 minutes to an hour. I stood at the front. I stood closer to the curb on 8 Mile. So I wasn't necessarily in the parking lot of the Coliseum.
So I'm just curious, why didn't you try to call the EMS or something?
I was trying to get in touch with Sam Stewart and let him know what happened to me. I was trying to find a ride. I didn't think to call EMS. I didn't think to call the police. I just did. I was looking
Okay.
for somebody to come help pick me up personally.
I got you. You were hurt pretty bad, though,
Yes,
bleeding from the eyes?
Yes.
Okay. So how long have you and Sam been friends at the time of the incident?
close to 25 years.
Okay. Did you see Sam come out of the club and look for you or anything?
Sam had no idea what happened.
Okay, you had your phone, right?
I did.
Did Sam try to call you?
The next day he called.
I mean, like that night?
The next day, no, he did. Not
Okay.
that night.
So you didn't get no call from Sam like, man, where are you? Or nothing like that? All right. So did Larry tell you, like, what time you took that picture of Mr. Ramsey that night?
He didn't tell me what time. He told me that he went up there. That he was ready. When I called him, he said he was gonna go up there.
You said he was gonna go up there and,
Take pictures. I asked him to.
okay. Did you tell him you were going to the hospital or anything? Did you tell him what happened to you?
Yeah, I did.
Was it your intention to go to the hospital?
It wasn't.
So by the time you see the photo array with Mr. Ramsey in it, how many photo arrays do you think you looked at?
I'm sorry.
About how many photo arrays do you think you looked at by the time you picked Mr. Ramsey?
So on one photo sheet, I believe there's either 6 to 8 individuals. I would say I may have looked at 60 to 80. And I didn't see Mr. M. Ramsey. Even though I had a picture on my phone, I didn't see him in none of the photos because he wasn't in any of the photos.
Okay, is it because you really weren't like looking for him?
Oh, I was looking for him.
Okay, but were you, so when you see the photo that Larry sent you, that match up kind of with the statement that you gave the police?
When I see the photos that Larry sent to me, I said, yeah, that's the other guy. I said, but it's another guy in there.
How many photos did Larry send you?
He only could get one good. He only could get one good photo.
Okay, so he went out there that night just to take pictures of bouncers and he comes back with one?
Correct.
All right. And so when you talked to the police though about the incident, you told them that you're looking for somebody, that it was a white man, one of the people who attacked was a white male, right?
I told him that it was 2 white males.
You did?
Absolutely.
Okay, you want to look at your statement to show me where you told them that?
Show me the statement.
Okay, you approach your honor.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, so there's one over there.
Oh, thank you. One that's not over.
Oh, I never got, because I didn't admit it.
Here's another.
It might, because I didn't admit it yet.
Thank you. Okay, so, yes. disclosure witnesses, Your Honor.
I know. And his P number isn't two.
What?
His P number isn't two, so he's getting ready to be in trouble for that phone.
That's what I'm saying next time.
Oh, okay. It's only one person with a P2 in here that might get away with something. All right, let's make sure our phones remain off, because I don't wanna have to, confiscate phones and then you can't get them back, 'cause you can't find it, you know. Ms.
Okay.
Stevenson,
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Clerk, you just kind of look that over, and then when you have finished looking that over, I just need to look up, okay? Please, sir. All set? Okay, thank you. Okay, so. thank you. Okay, so do you tell the police via that statement that you're attacked by more than one white guy? 5 white guys?
I told the police that I was attacked by 2 white guys. I didn't write that statement. That statement was being reported as I talked.
Okay, so this is a statement that.
It says that a white guy started punching,
Mhm.
then when they took me to the floor, it says the same white guy, but I didn't necessarily tell him it was the same white guy. He
Oh,
wrote that. It
okay,
said the same white guy was kicking me in the face.
right, so the statement that you signed though, was the same white guy. kicking
I
you.
signed it.
All right, okay, so, I mean, were you
and I
telling?
am listening.
I know.
Well,
you were.
okay, yes.
Okay, so when you talk to the detective, talk to Detective Mason, you're telling him the truth, right, about what happened that night?
Yes.
Okay. And then you're testifying today, right? And you're telling the truth, right?
Correct.
Okay. Even though the 2 stories are kind of different, you're telling the truth then and you're telling the truth today?
I'm telling the truth
Both times,
all the time,
and in the deposition,
all the time.
okay, where you say that Mr. Gramsci's wearing gloves.
I said,
Overruled, I think that's overruled, I don't know.
So you're telling the truth at the deposition, right?
I
Did you tell the truth at the deposition?
absolutely,
Did you tell the truth to Detective Mason?
absolutely,
And you're telling the truth today?
absolutely.
Even though each of those 3 times we get a little bit different information.
I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Any redirect?
Yes.
All right.
$53, so you're ready. So, going back to the incident that happened in the club, you testified to maybe all 3 of the counsels that the people that were boxing and were who again?
It was these guys,
When we say these guys, people refer to.
and Bromsky, Didmore, Spencer, Faison, and a guy I couldn't identify.
Okay, and did you ever tell police that you were able to identify this guy that had the dreadlocks that you testified to?
No, I told her from the beginning that all I remember him was being a black guy with dreads, long hair.
And you never picked him out of the line?
I couldn't.
Okay. And you testified that Mr. Ditmore, punched you in the face?
Several times.
Okay. And you testified that Mr. Bransky approached you and did what?
Mr. Bransky approached from a distance and just stood there while Ditmore was punching me in the face. When I tried to kick Mr. Ditmore, that's when Mr. Bransky went. And at some point, I was thrown to the floor all simultaneously, and I was kicked while I was down on the floor.
Okay. Now, did you have any injuries from this assault that took place?
I did.
What injuries did you have?
I injured my back. I had my teeth kicked in. I had wounds under my eyes. My neck was injured.
Okay. Did you take photos of those injuries?
Your Honor, I'm gonna object because, redirect is limited to what we did on cross-examination. And she had an opportunity to bring all this stuff and did not. There's not a chance to restart her case in chief. We asked questions and things came out, so redirect is to focus on what we asked, not new information that she's trying to bring in.
Respond.
No, just not new information. He's testifying to the assault that took place with the person that was asked. So that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think he's more focused on you trying to now introduce the pictures. Is that what you're saying?
Right, yes, Your Honor, and she never brought that in the beginning or even questions about specific injuries. We
Well,
crossed.
everybody's been talking about his eye.
Yes, it's I, but
Oh.
those pictures are not, they were not brought up in the case in chief, and she cannot bring them up, and we stopped. Actually, we asked about punching in the face.
Well, my case in chief is not.
It's not, I'll allow it, it's been trial, that's all.
Thank you. So, Madam Judge.
You may.
Really, for the purpose of the record, we stipulated to these pictures.
Oh, right, but Mr. Farina said he wanted the opportunity to question.
No,
you.
no,
I got it, I'm just,
Okay,
I said it wasn't brought in the beginning, Your Honor. I'll
That's true.
stipulate.
okay, they stipulated.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll ask some questions for you.
Madam Judge.
you may.
I think the only issue was the foundation as to who took them and when they were taken. And other than that,
There is no issue if it's stipulated to.
well, but I think Mr.
Ms. Ritter,
Freeman,
don't speak on my behalf. Oh, okay.
Your Honor, really, Mr. Freeman did say that subject to him identifying when he took them and stuff like that. And you did indicate that once. you
Mr.
did-
Farina could take to ask a question if he needed to about the pictures. But
Okay,
if they're stipulated to, they're stipulated
Well,
to.
I raised the,
Right.
beginning.
I mean, is there some issue of if these are really his injuries?
I don't know when those pictures were taken.
that's all.
Because he
That's all.
suffered many injuries, Judge.
We don't know. Okay, I guess that's what I'm here to determine. Ms. Ritter, ask him the foundational questions about when the pictures were taken, please, so I can prove them.
Madam Judge.
You may.
Mr. Floyd, I just need these documents. When you're done looking at them, just put them face down. So, Mr. Floyd, do you recognize the documents that I handed you?
I do.
What do you recognize those documents to be?
Pictures that I've taken myself.
When did you take those pictures?
Some of them I took the night, that I was at the hospital.
And what night was that?
It would have been the next day, because this is when I went to the emergency. Some of them was taken in the emergency.
Okay, what date? Can you give me the date?
April 21st,
Or what year?
2018.
Okay, and are those the photos that you turned over to the police?
I believe so.
And were those photos altered or changed in any way?
No,
At this time, well, I'm not gonna ask if it's stipulated, but
Mr. Farina, is there any objection to the court receiving these documents as photographs that the witness said he took that night?
Let me just clarify, some of them, not all of them. So which ones did you actually take?
I took all of them.
But you said you took some of them.
I said some of them was taken the night of, some of them was taken later.
But you
I
said
can show
later.
you the ones that was.
No, what we're not gonna do is have a conversation between the attorneys, so, no, all right, is that, okay,
I have no objection.
all right, and what exhibit numbers are these?
They're all included.
Or they have to be 3A through something, they can't all be 3.
Madam President,
You may.
yours will be marked as exhibit 3A to 3.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, A to what? I'm sorry.
E.
Thank you, Ms. Ritter.
Judge, at this time, people like to publish people's exhibits 3A to 3B.
You may,
Madam President,
you may.
now, Mr. Floyd, as to the photo lineups, you indicated to the defense counsel that there were how many photo lineups, or were shown to you, I'm sorry.
There were 3 different occasions I went to look at photos, and I would say a total, I probably looked at over 80 photos.
Okay. And do you recall when the first photo lineup was done?
I don't recall the date.
You don't recall the date? You recall that you picked anyone out of the first photo?
Yes,
Okay. And with respect to the photo lineup done for Mr. Bransky, was that done before or after you received the photo from Mr. Mason? The photo lineup done for Mr. Bransky. You present that photo lineup before you received the picture?
Participate in, I saw that.
You're right. Correct, for the record. Did you participate in the photo lineup of Mr. Bransky before you received that photo from Mary Massey or after you received the photo from Mary Massey?
Mr. Brasky's photo was never presented in any of the total lineups.
Okay, so when did you pick out Mr. Bransky in the photo lineup?
I never did pick him out of a photo lineup. They never had his picture.
Okay, so when did do you recall when you showed the picture of Mr. Bransky?
It was when I went for the second, showing the pictures of the photo lineup. The second time I went to see photos, and I didn't see them in any of the photos.
Okay, so why did you show the picture to the detective?
Because it was a moment of frustration and some back and forth between me and Officer Mason, me and Detective Mason. And I pulled on my phone and showed him the guy.
Okay, and that's because you didn't see him in the previous lineup.
Yes, he kept going to get more photos. He made that round trip several times.
And you weren't able to pick him out?
And he wasn't in any of the photos.
Now, regarding your statement to the police, do you recall if that statement was given the same day or after?
Say my statement when I went to the police station.
Correct.
It was the same night.
Okay, and the statement that you said you didn't write, do you recall when that statement was given?
I didn't write the one that was originally when I went to report the incident and the detective was on duty when he was taking my statement down. I didn't write that.
Why not?
He did it all himself.
Okay, and when was it?
This is after I left the hospital, the same night the incident.
So you left the hospital and went back to the hospital?
Correct.
And that's when the statement was given, but you didn't write it?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Were you under any medication after you left the hospital?
No.
No further questions.
Normally, I wait to ask my questions, but in the interest of time, I'm gonna ask a couple of questions now, and then if you have any questions based on my questions, you include them in your questions. So, Mr. Floyd, I have a couple questions for you. And I'm gonna ask them before the end of the day, so I'm gonna. You, sir, but. My question is, after you left the club, when you said somebody threw you out the back door, and then you said you were waiting on an 8 Mile or something or another, and you made all those phone calls, my question is, from the time you was put out the back of the club, did you ever try to go back into the club?
No.
Okay. And then when you testified about Mr. Massey going back into the Coliseum to take those pictures, how did you, at what point did you talk to him? He was one of the people you called when your girlfriend picked you up?
Yes.
And you called him, you were already gone from the Coliseum?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know if I called him while I was waiting in the outside on 8 Mile, or I made a lot of phone calls.
You said you walked the pathway and then somebody asked you, one of the lawyers, about some people sitting at tables and stuff, and then you said there were no people sitting at the tables and there were no dancers on the dance floor. What was going on in the club at this time?
It was very dead at night. At 9 o'clock, it was dead. It was still light outside when we walked in, and it was dead. I mean, it may have been a few people there, but it was, I could probably count on one hand how many people was actually there besides my party.
And of the people that were there, besides your party, while this incident was going on, nobody approached or came over, or nobody came over towards where you were?
No.
And the dancers, of course, I've never been to a club. The dancers don't start, what time do the dancers, they hadn't started dancing yet? They don't start as soon as the club opens?
I don't recall seeing any dancers. I don't recall seeing nobody. I don't know if there was people I don't think it was dead.
Okay, I think I have a couple more questions. That picture of Mr. Abramski. You called your friend, you said go back to the club, because I need to know who these bouncers are, or something to that effect. And then, you got sent a picture. And you said you got sent that picture that same night. When he sent you the picture, without telling me what he said, did he say anything okay, if I send my friend a picture, I might say, this is the guy I was talking about, or, this person was at the bar, or I saw this one person outside. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Did he say anything when he sent the picture, or did he just send you this picture?
Yeah, he,
Don't tell me what he said, but I'm just asking you, did he say something?
yes.
Okay, and then he said something and it came along with that picture.
The picture came in the statement.
Okay, and then it's your testimony that when you saw the picture, then you recognized oh, that's the guy I saw walk up.
When I saw the picture, I knew that was one of the guys, but that wasn't the picture that I wanted.
I know, but, I don't know, but I'm just saying, when you saw the picture, you said, you recognized the person in the picture. Okay, and then, so based on that same thing, you recognize that person. My question is, you said one of the defendants was hitting you in the face, that you say that was Mr. Didmore. And then you said two people was holding you on your arms, and then you said some kind of way you got knocked down to the floor at some point, right? And then you said Mr. Abramski then started kicking you. Remember, you said once you was down, Mr. Abramski started kicking you. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
Okay, my question is, well, strike that, let me also say, you also testified that when you got put down on the ground, you said, I was face down on the ground. You remember saying
I
that?
remember saying that.
Okay, my question is, how did you know Mr. Abramski was the one kicking you?
So while they got my arms, and when the guy let me out of the chokehold, I told you I attempted to kick Mr.
Ditmore.
And when I lifted my foot to kick Mr. Ditmore, the whole time, Mr. Abramski was standing there.
Mhm.
When he wasn't doing anything at first.
Mhm.
When I lifted my foot to kick him, then he joined in. And at that point,
He joined in doing what?
so
So,
he hit me. I ain't gonna say he hit me several times, but he hit me. But then at the same time, the guys who was holding my arms, they slammed me forward to the floor. So once he slammed me forward to the floor, Mr. Abramski kicking me, but they also let me go. They released my arms and I'm trying
Okay.
to get up now.
okay, so, all right, I'm gonna let that settle and let somebody else deal with that. But my question to you is, so if you say Mr. Abramski hit you, also, my question is, once you got down on the ground, how did you know that it was Mr. Abramski? How did you know who was kicking you? That's just my question.
Because I knew from where they were standing when I was up. So
Okay,
I
so-
went down and they still in the same position as
Mhm.
they was when I was up.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Sherbo.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Floyd, earlier, and this was covered, we talked about your phone records. And we talked about the pictures, and you said you don't have any of those documents, correct?
I don't know.
Okay, well, do you recall testifying in the civil case that you turned all those records over to the police department?
I don't recall.
Okay, in your deposition that was taken on November 12th, 2020, on page 98, the question.
I'm gonna play, that's outside the scope. The cell phone records is outside the scope. What's good?
No, this isn't just the court's question. This is, Mr. Sherbo tried to stand up and do recross, and I said I was going out of turn,
Oh,
and I was allowing recross, but then if there were any questions based on my question, they could include it in the recross, and then you can include it if you want, if you had any questions based on my questions.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Okay, so on page 98, there was a question on line 8, do you have your phone bill from that month? And you testified, yes, I don't know if I have it for that month, but I certainly have my phone call log from that night. Do you recall that?
Possibly.
Okay, do you recall the question, have you given that to your attorney? Do you recall your answer? I'm not sure if I have or not.
I believe I have, but I'm not sure.
Okay, then the next question is, if you have it, you could. The answer that you gave, sir, is on line 14, sure I could. The only person I know for sure that I gave it to is the prosecutor, and I'm not sure that they can use it, but I definitely will give it to my attorney. Do you recall telling under oath that you gave your phone call log to the prosecutor's office?
I don't recall.
Okay, let me show it to you and see, maybe this will refresh your recollection. May I approach you?
Okay.
Okay, I'd like you to look at this, and I kind of circled it because it's right there in the bottom. And that was a soliloquy of the series of questions that says you gave that to the police department back then. Okay, do you remember saying that at your deposition in 2020?
I don't recall saying.
Okay, but it's in the printed page.
Yes.
So is that a lie?
No, I'm not
Did you
saying
give
it's
it
a
to the
lie.
prosecutor's office in 2018?
I believe I did, but I don't recall.
And you haven't tried to get it back? I'll strike that. That's not a, that's not a question. That was just my own commentary. Sir, I cannot believe, and you know, not that I'm an aficionado of gentlemen's clubs, that you're telling this, you're asking this court to believe that at 9 o'clock on a Friday night, there wasn't a person in the bar.
I didn't say that.
Well, kind of that's what
I
I
said,
said.
I said that it was dead.
Okay, were there people at the tables in the pathway?
I don't recall.
Were there dancers?
I don't recall.
Well, an hour ago, you said there were none, so I really don't, I wasn't there. You said to me earlier, and maybe to Mr. Farina, that, and even to the judge, there's nobody there. Were there people sitting in the tables?
I don't recall seeing anybody sitting at the table.
Did you recall seeing a dancer on a stage, on somebody's lap, at the bar, or anywhere?
No,
Why did you have to wait to have the table cleaned up if nobody was there?
maybe it's just a dirty club. I don't know.
Okay, but you didn't see anybody leaving, did you?
No,
You didn't see anybody eating, did you?
no,
You didn't see anybody dancing in there, did you?
no.
So there is Christopher Floyd, there's Sam Sword, and 2 of Sam's friends, and the whole damn place was empty.
Mr.
Excuse my
Sherman,
language. I apologize. The whole place was empty.
I'm not gonna say, I don't know what the whole place is.
Okay, but you're telling this judge that nobody heard you getting your butt kicked, being hit 15, 20 times, kicked, falling to the ground, and nobody can hear it, right?
That's what I'm telling you.
So.
Who's gonna come?
no questions from the
Okay,
witness.
so I only have one little line of questions, because I know it's getting late. This week, we received new discovery from the prosecutor's office dated September 6th of 2020, just a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And it was a statement that they gave us, and I'm gonna ask you if the statement is true or not.
Judge, I'm gonna object because I know what it is in hearsay.
I know what?
She knows what the statement is, and the statement is hearsay. That's her statement, not mine.
Okay,
Okay. I don't know how to rule on it because I don't know what the statement is, and I don't know if it's hearsay, so I guess I'll have to hear the question first.
okay,
And
I will
there's
do that.
an objection as to hearsay, and she.
I got it, and so I got a statement emailed to me that allegedly was taken by a guy named Derek Mason. I believe that's Detective Mason, on September.
But who was the statement from?
Sam Sword, who
Oh,
says,
hold on.
let me ask you a question. If Sam Sword came here to testify and said that he was with you in floods, would that be a lie or the truth?
It's gotta be a lie.
Okay, so the
No,
statement.
That's
Okay,
the question.
we'll wait for Detective Mason.
Okay. Okay,
I don't have anything further on this.
Mr. Farina,
Just a quick question.
oh,
Wait,
careful.
I know it's an age thing.
Oh, okay, 'cause it's on video and everything, I mean, we would.
I hope my wife's not watching.
Mr. Farina,
On exhibit E, the statement that you gave at the police station, the last sentence, question is, did you get a chance to review your statements? And what did you write? What was written there?
Yes.
Let me ask you something. You played football in college, right?
Correct.
You graduated from college? That's what I'm saying?
Yes.
You went to high school, correct?
Yes.
You're a businessman, that's fair to say?
No.
Okay. You work with tax, you work with a lot of numbers or professional statements, correct?
No.
Don't you work with contracts with the NFL? Have you reviewed, insurance payments, other things like that the NFL sent you? You don't read any of those documents?
I have orders for that.
I didn't hear your answer, I apologize.
I had attorneys do that.
Okay, thank
So
you.
you don't review any of your insurance policies, any of your contracts, or anything your attorney sends,
Agents do that.
but you don't do any of it?
No.
Okay, so that's why you're saying that you got a document on the case you're bringing forward, and you didn't take time, although you say you did, you signed it, you didn't read any of it.
I don't recall.
So when you say I don't recall, what you're saying is you may have read it, or you may not, you just don't have memory today.
I'm saying I signed it.
Okay, so you know you signed
I
it,
signed it.
but you don't know if you read it.
I
Is
didn't-
that what you want us to
I
believe?
didn't. I didn't.
Oh,
write
now
it.
you didn't read it.
I didn't write it. I didn't write
I
it.
got you didn't write it. I didn't ask you if you wrote it. I asked you if you read a statement, 3-page statement about an event that we're here today on. If you read it.
I don't recall.
I don't, no further questions.
Ms. Stevenson, any?
Just very brief. Because I really didn't hear the answer to this question. So, did you,
You mean the last question?
no,
Oh, okay.
so, Mr. Floyd, the first time you went to had a photo lineup, did you say that you did pick out somebody or you didn't pick?
I did. I picked out 2 people.
You picked out 2 people at the first, instantly picked out 2 people at the first photo lineup?
Yes,
Okay. And so which lineup was it where you picked the wrong person?
that was the last.
Is that the one where you picked Mr. Ramsey?
That's the one when I was looking for Mr. Brand. That's the one I was looking for, Mr. Yeah.
Okay, so which lineup was it where you picked Mr. Ramsey?
I never picked Mr. Bransky out of the lineup.
Okay, I don't,
One follow-up question, Judge.
No, you don't get a follow-up from Ms. Stevenson.
I just want, well, point of clarification. Just on this.
Anything, Ms. Ritter?
Real quick, so Mr. Floyd, when the judge asked you, did you call Mr. Mason, was that during the time you were in the front of the Coliseum or in the car with Erica all the time?
I believe it was when I was in the front, but I called many people. I don't know exactly where he called in, but I called a lot of people.
You recall where you were when you spoke to him?
I believe I was in the car when I was actually talking.
All right, thank you, Mr. Floyd, you may step
So
down.
I just have one question, just for clarification, based on his answer.
What answer? What question?
He said, picking out the pictures, he didn't pick Mr. Ditmore out of any pictures also. I just want to make sure.
Oh, counsel, that's for argument. I get it. All right, you may step down. And then, and Mr. Floyd, as the complaining witness, notwithstanding whether anybody is gonna recall him, including for rebuttal, you have a right to remain in the courtroom for the rest of the proceedings if you want to, okay? All right. We are on a recess for the day, and looks like we have one housekeeping matter. So who's the people's next witness? Is it gonna be the OIC or somebody else? How many more witnesses do people have? For real, not based on the long witness list. 3, okay, so the defense, who is the people's next witness? Let me ask that way first.
Lieutenant White.
And what did Lieutenant White do? That they did part of the investigation?
Right.
On the night of the incident? After the fact? Okay. So, first of all, we're not starting until, We have a light docket. Let me see that docket.
For tomorrow.
Yes. The people, I mean, the defense wanted to call their expert out of turn. So I was trying to configure it. So the witness is available tomorrow from 9 to 11, but you all told that other witness to come at 2, which I don't think is, you might have to change that.
Well, they didn't want, she didn't want Paris anyways, so we'll work with that schedule.
Right. Okay, so tomorrow it is short. Ms. Stevenson, do you have help tomorrow morning?
Tuesday,
I mean, we only have,
yes, I do.
it's light. We could probably start at 9:30.
Okay.
And then we could probably start at 9:30. What you can, if council can't come in at her?
I will have him come at 9:30 and it should.
No, I'm saying, can you come at 9:30? That was the
Come at
first one.
8:30.
Oh, okay.
So be there 9:30.
So come at 9:30, that gives Ms. Stevenson and the MFT an hour to do this docket. And then if there are a couple of cases that don't get done, we can sprinkle them in. We can have the witness come at 9:15. I will take that witness out of order. It won't confuse the evidence because again, it's a bench trial and I know how to decipher somebody's phone ringing and I wanted to please stop.
Your Honor, may I ask, other than Lieutenant White, I assume the other 2 witnesses will be Detective Mason and who the third is?
I don't know, who do you plan to call tomorrow? Lieutenant White and who?
And Detective Cobb Sanders.
And who?
Detective Cobb Sanders.
Detective Cobb Sanders. Those are the 3 that people think they will
So,
call.
we're not having
We don't
Ms.
know.
Augustine?
I don't know.
Well,
She might, I'm not boxing her in.
Okay.
That's her next 3 witnesses.
Gotcha.
But we will call, I'm gonna let them call the expert out of order.
Great.
So we'll start tomorrow with the expert. And then, that's gonna take, I don't know how long it'll take, but 9:30 to at least maybe 11 o'clock. So your first witness, you could tell them to come at like 10:30, 10:45. Your first witness.
May-
Yes.
As an imposition that we do have other folks from the defense standpoint, should we have them here Wednesday morning or you want to?
Oh, yeah, probably Wednesday morning, not.
Okay, not tomorrow. We don't need Paris coming sitting in the afternoon. So
I don't want, as much as possible, I don't want people sitting, because I don't wanna have to, get in my,
gotcha.
assertive posture, like you sit here all day and we have you sit here all day. I don't wanna have to say that. However, what I also don't want is dead time, dead space.
Well, I was just told that there was a possibility that Ms. Floyd may have to return to Arizona Wednesday. So we may have to ask the court to take her out. of
She
order.
may have to change her ticket. I'm not gonna keep interrupting the people's case, so if you all have witnesses that have certain time periods, yeah, you have to think about that when we doing our cross-examination and stuff. But I'm not gonna keep taking people out of place, but
We'll figure it out.
we're gonna start, and I'm gonna continue to try to run a tight ship. I don't know how good I did today.
You did great.
But, we're gonna start with that witness, and then we're gonna motor right through. I don't have anything else on my docket in the afternoon. I only have a few cases tomorrow, so we should be able to do it. And it shouldn't be a problem, but if we can get through with the people's case tomorrow morning, then the person
Gotcha.
from Arizona can go ahead and testify.
Gotcha.
Yes. Yes. I don't want any of the exhibits, you all keep all the exhibits until, the end. I don't really need to see. I mean, as you introduce them, you can publish, but, after that, you can keep them, because I don't want to be responsible.
Yes, sir.
Anything further,
I guess I can take it.
before we conclude for the day?
Sure, you want me to take
Yeah.
it?
All right, there we are in recess.
Thank you, Judge. Go ahead.
I'll be there tomorrow morning.
We can.
All right.
Ms. Stevenson won't be able to,